Good evening. My name is Nicholas Offord. I run a strategic consulting firm in the charitable sector, and we're advising clients these days on the radical transformation of Canadian society and how it affects giving, voluntarism, and how technology and other dynamics are affecting how social convening works and how do you build communities. This is driven largely by a baby boomer demographic coming into its primary giving and philanthropic years. Baby boom is not so trusting, perhaps, of traditional institutions. In fact, behaving in a somewhat disruptive and entitled way, perhaps. When I started in fundraising in the early 80s, 1 in 3 Canadians claimed a charitable deduction. 2001, it was 1 in 4. This year, it'll be 1 in 5. Whether that's due to record household debt, declines in religious participation, or a failure of the charitable sector, we're not quite sure. But it does mean that we are exceptionally challenged with respect to collective action. Meanwhile, the dynamics of concentration of wealth in this country means that we have a new generation of very activist philanthropists coming and prepared to invest big money. In fact, the charitable sector continues to grow far ahead of GDP in terms of absolute dollars. But it's an arcane system, the world of charities, a provincial mandate administered by the tax collector. We have a governance structure that's focused on cost containment rather than strategic investment in the future. Why does this matter? I think fundamentally it's about who we are as Canadians, how we come together, how we form bonds over philanthropic action and voluntary action, how we care for disadvantaged members of our society defines us, defines our community, defines our nation. We also know that sometimes government struggles to solve problems, like poverty, health, Indigenous abuse, neglect of children. There are many issues out there that government alone cannot take a lead on. And there's a need, in my view, to focus more on community-based solutions. We need to create the support mechanisms for innovation and incubation of new ideas. We need to bring together public, private, and corporate expertise, and we need to fuel change with time and money. And it takes courage to change the system, and some charities are responding to this. I'll just cite 3. Women's College Hospital, who are taking on the issue of women and health equity. Children's Aid Foundation, who's taking on the challenge of trying to figure out how do we address the problem of abandoned and abused children in state care. And, sorry, I just dropped that. And CAMH, of course, CAMH, who've taken on the issue of creating a policy environment for mental health that we couldn't expect before. So these are real stubborn issues that we're going to have to address. So we as a firm have been involved as a partner with the LEAP, the Center, PICO Center for Social Impact, for a number of years now. What is that? Well, we bring together a mix of talent and resources to do exactly what I just talked about. We provide voluntary support from the talents of Canada's leading companies, provide management and analytics to prove concepts. We bring in government relations expertise to advise on system change and funding, support for executive leadership and change management, careful selection of analysis of projects. We've now looked at over 1,500 discrete social innovation projects. And we've helped build a community of allies, supporters, and funders that have leveraged over $100 million of strategic investments in the future of this country. So community and philanthropy, in my mind, are vital in terms of building this together. We need to invest in leadership and talent as much as specific projects. We need to enthusiastically bring skills and resources to the table and use philanthropy as a strategic venture capital to take some risks. Many of the people I know in this industry either came out of government or were formerly activists with political parties. They really want to change the world. I still believe that. I believe that fundraising is fundamentally an act of social activism, right? It's how we make change in our world. And so I think it's a muscle that we need to exercise and use more. We need to engage big donors in investing in strategic initiatives with the potential to have high impact. For those of you who don't know LEAP, I encourage you to go read our social impact report. It talks about some of the projects we've supported across the country. We've partnered with Google in the past, and there's some good news coming up as well regarding our new initiatives in the fields of public and community health. And with that, I thank you.